Greetings and welcome to today's webinar, Raising Neurodiverse Leaders, Empowering Students to Go Beyond Learning and Think. Odds are you're here today for three reasons. One, your child simply isn't being nurtured in their current programming. Two, you want your student to go beyond simply low-level learning. You want them to learn to think and develop real cognitive abilities. Or three, most tragic of all, your child's falling out of love with learning. And this is so painful to see, but we see it all too much in the distance learning landscape. So if you've been looking for a sign if things have been doom and gloom lately, this is your sign, and the time is now. We are Young Scholars Academy, and we are thrilled to have you here today. Something led you here, whether it's frustration with current programming, feeling like your learner is struggling, but we are so happy to have you here, and we are looking toward a brighter future. Do me a favor, if you're comfortable with this, close your eyes and picture this. Imagine your young learner emerges from an online program, runs to the dinner table, and cannot wait to tell you about logos, pathos, ethos, and understanding the complexities of persuasion. They tell you about a speech that they just delivered and that they won first place in the class, and they are so excited. And now that they've learned this concept, when they watch commercials or when they're on social media or when they're talking with their friends, they can see the bigger picture. They have the critical thinking abilities to see these different persuasive pressures and forces all around them. This is a real story that some parents have shared with me. Their student would not stop talking about the elements of persuasion that they learned in their very first speech and debate class. Imagine that. If this sounds good to you, then let's go ahead and dive in. Before we go too far though, I've got an exclusive offer for you because I love to deliver. If you stick around until the end, we're going to offer some free programming. So join us on our journey today and stick around all the way till the end. You're going to like what you see. Little roadmap for today, we're going to talk about 3 P's of our webinar. First, we're going to get into the problem that many people are facing. Second, we're going to dive into the possibilities. And then third, and you're going to like this one, we're going to look at the promise that I'm delivering today. All right, let's take a look at that problem. So I'd like to start with a little political cartoon. The teacher at the desk and some animals behind a tree, in front of a tree. The teacher says, "For a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please, climb that tree." Obviously, the monkey, the crow, the penguin, the goldfish, the elephant all have very different skills. They're going to struggle in certain areas and they're going to thrive in others. But they cannot all climb that tree. If it makes so much sense here in this political cartoon, why can't we wrap our brains around it here when it comes to educational programming? Most expensive programs that you're probably enrolled in now are not accounting for your learners' unique strengths, passions, talents, and their learning profiles, styles, preferences, and difficulties. And these two worlds need to be simultaneously accounted for to holistically educate your learner. And what about our twice exceptional learners? Those learners that have exceptional gifts and exceptional challenges. They are the most underserved right now. And Young Scholars Academy is delighted to be a part of the wave of healing and of helping and of enriching neurodiverse learners. It's time to use the disruption that COVID has brought, the distance learning landscape that COVID has brought, and go beyond merely surviving and shift to thriving. It's time to go beyond making it through and transition and transform into self-actualization and innovation. There are many opportunities right now. So if this has all been doom and gloom and you've been really struggling, you and your learner have been struggling to make it through, so to speak, well, if you need some good news, I've got some good news. We've got a lot of possibilities that we're really excited to offer. If you would, if you're comfortable with this, close your eyes again. Okay? Imagine your child falling head over heels with learning. Imagine them loving to learn, whether they loved it before and they fell out of love or they haven't really loved learning. Imagine your child being immersed in a warm, nurturing environment that accepts and supports their strengths and areas for growth. Imagine your child actualizing and learning about how to tap into their own superpowers and becoming a gifted and natural leader. Doesn't this feel good? Can't you see this in your mind's eye? If you're saying yes, then you're going to love what we have to say. Think back to that cartoon that we looked at a minute ago. Okay, we're in clear need of a mindset shift. We need to go beyond merely examining content for content's sake. This is history, this is who died when, and we need to go into this place of actual discovery and growth, beyond just memory and understanding, and into analysis, synthesis, and transformation. Okay? We're looking for an ascension in education, beyond filling brains with the quote-unquote right information and into developing the brain and creating our present and future generation. So I've got a great quote for you, someone that says it much better than myself, Mr. Sam Weinberg, professor at Stanford University here. He says, quote, "Students need to be taught to think like historians not because they will become professional historians, but precisely because most won't. The goals of school history are not vocational, but to prepare students to tolerate complexity, to adapt to new situations, and to resist the first answer that comes to mind." Let me reread that last sentence. The goals of school history are not vocational, but to prepare students to tolerate complexity, adapt to new situations, and to resist the first answer that comes to mind. This is revolutionary, and this is bringing about a change, this way of thinking. It's not about the content, it's not about math, history, English, whatever it may be. It's about the learning to learn, the discovery, the critical thinking skills behind the scenes. If this message resonates with you, then click that button below. Check out our programming right now. Stop right where you are, dive into our programming offers, and see what we've got available for you. If you want to learn more about our programming, stick around. Here are 3 courses in the humanities that really align with what Sam Weinberg is telling us. Here's a speech and debate course, The Powers of Persuasion, our most popular class. But what it's really about is mastering the art of persuasion and leadership and finding the voice. Another humanities class, U.S. History Detective Style. Sure, it's about examining primary documents, but what it's really about is creating hypotheses and using evidence to test the theories and examine them. And another great one, Almost America, a what if or a counterfactual history class, one of our other popular ones. Sure, it's about imagining and understanding the past, but what it's really about is the critical thinking skills that allow us to not only examine what happened, but imagine what might have happened. One of the most important cognitive skills for your students making decisions and looking towards their own futures. Let me share a little story with you quickly. Student, just after the second class in our 6-session debate course, The Powers of Persuasion, the parent wrote me and said, this is a quote, and I've kept them anonymous, "Sam, can you teach a parent debate class so I can go back to beating my son in arguments?" You've got a young learner that was so passionate and was just so exceptional at absorbing all the information so quickly that he was actually besting his parents in arguments. It's amazing to see these transformations, and we see them all the time in our programs. So if all of this sounds good to you, then you're going to love my promise to you. Okay? And my promise is this. Long gone are the days of being behind, not paying attention, struggling to advocate, unclear communication on behalf of your learner. These days are the black and white past. The bright and shiny future is programming that is created for your students to become the best versions of themselves. We're offering 6-session passion-based courses designed around these fundamental critical thinking and transformative skills. And we group in 2 settings. We've got our junior scholars, which are going to be our 5th to 7th graders. And then we've got our senior scholars, who are our 8th through 12th graders. So if your students fit into these 2 groups, then jump in to one of those 2, sign up today, and take advantage. Okay? The question now is, I've talked at you a lot. Are you ready to commit transforming your child's life today? Are you ready to make that transformation and do so now? Will you take part in allowing your student to reach within, not memorize outside content, reach within and tap into unlocking their superpowers, finding their voice, and becoming the leaders that they are destined to be? If so, click that button and let's transform your learners today. Wait no longer. This has been a long and arduous challenge during the distance learning and COVID landscape. Now is the time to see the light and run towards it, sprint towards it. Okay, now these programs that we offer, our 6-session courses, are valued just under $400. That's the normal value. But for joining us today, for being a part of this conversation, I'm throwing a major discount at you. The VIP webinar promo deal right here, if you just type this in, if you click the link below and you're going to type that promo code in, don't forget that. Maybe take a screenshot. You're going to be saving almost $100. Okay, so we're going from just under $400 down to $265. Major savings we're throwing at you today, and this promo is only going to last a couple more days, so please jump in, take advantage, okay? Now, I've said a lot today. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with us. You're here because you care about your learner, and I'm here to tell you that everything is going to be okay. There are bright solutions, and we offer them. Thank you so much for granting me the privilege to serve. Time and time again, we've had amazing transformations, and I appreciate you entrusting us with your learners and granting us the opportunity to help them become the best versions of themselves. Now, if you're still listening and you're thinking, this all sounds great, but I'm not 100% sure it is a lot of money, I'm throwing 110% money back guarantee in because I love to over-deliver. Yes, you're reading that correctly. And no, this is not a math class, but let me throw some numbers at you. If you're feeling like you're a little uncertain, I will give you all of your money back within 24 hours of the first class if your learner says, hey, you know what? I like that class, but I'm not really into sketching, actually. Fine. Not only will I do that, but I'm also going to cut you a check on top of that for $26 of that $265, 10% of my own money. I'm that confident that we are seeing transformations every day and that your learner will transform by being in our programming and being a part of our tribe. If you're a little bit curious about who I am, my name is Samuel Young. I'm the director of Young Scholars Academy. I'm a 2-time Fulbright scholar. I'm currently working in getting a doctorate in neurodiverse cognitive education. I've been teaching neurodiverse learners for over 10 years, and I have actually led international programs taking twice exceptional learners all over the globe. Very different continents, cultures, and countries. So I've got quite a good amount of experience in this domain. If you'd like to reach out, you have some questions, go ahead and check out our website, youngscholarsacademy.org. Or if you want to shoot me an email directly, hit me up at youngscholarsacademyla@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to hear from you. If you liked what you heard today and you're really excited about it, ride that energy. Share the news on social media. Get our information out there. Learning is way more fun when your children are doing it with their friends. So we have found that when people organically bring their friends to Young Scholars Academy, those are the most enriching and best experiences. Thank you so much. I'm humbled to have spent the time with you. Click the button below. Get involved. Check us out. You will never look back.